Okay, go ahead, Gail.
Okay.
Go ahead.
For the last meeting on the Commission on Disabilities, I did share that we discussed changes to the medical transportation payment structure. And there was wide support and understanding for having it move from a totally volunteer payment system to a fee-for-service system. So I just wanted to share that there was definite support and understanding for that. And that's all I've got for now.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other liaison reports? All right. Barring none, let's go to citizen input on topics not on the agenda. We do have two visitors today, and so I'd like to hear from them. Please.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the introduction. We are both, myself, Chris, and Gilda James, both members of the Lowell Age Action Committee out of the Lowell Senior Center. And of course, Gilda holds a seat on the council, the Lowell Council on Aging. What we were here to, I guess, want to share was an idea that we had at the Lowell Senior Center to inform other, I guess, throughout the area on their automatic entry or automatic enrollment or automatically part of the senior center by simply becoming a senior. Most people are under the impression that senior centers are a club or a members only facility, and they figure if they don't carry cards or pay dues that they shouldn't even go. What we'd like to do is inform seniors that simply by being a senior, you're automatically entered. And the method that we're trying to use to facilitate that is we develop what we call a traveling senior center, where we go to facilities, housing facilities, where there are large populations of seniors and simply set up in a common area and basically have an information session for all those in that facility. And hopefully we can take that same idea and move from one facility to the next facility, or by word of mouth from those folks that we contact in that first facility, simply inform the seniors in the area that they are simply part of the senior center by being a senior.
Excellent. Thank you. And we provided you with our brochure, our monthly fees, and you have one for us also.
Yes, the Heritage, well, this is the name that we've given to our monthly program, is available at, of course, the Senior Center. And so far through volunteers, we've had them show up at senior facilities. Gilda personally drops them off at the Y every month. But as Ralph was saying before, we include a calendar along with other very useful information activities. But in addition to this, we wouldn't have to have one of the flyers that we also.
No. Okay, yeah.
We the council, the Age Action Group has also put together a seasonal information booklet, or pamphlet is what it actually is. And I thought we would have a copy of that and bring one. But basically it has great ideas and great info on a neatly handled front and back single sheet of paper that is produced every season. The winter season just went out, I think 2 weeks ago. But just tips and advice and information for seniors in the area that encompass both health issues, just needed transportation, walkability of different areas, and there's even information provided by the Lowell Police Department on areas
Such as
concerning scams that attack or address seniors, and just other things that the police have taken upon themselves to both enforce and amplify or inform seniors on the potential of different
Do you mail your heritage out to
Oh, that's what I
everyone?
was about to say, and we do mail it, yes, we do.
Yes,
To our
now, our
members.
mailing list doesn't go beyond simply members.
Okay,
But we would like to include or at least find some method of getting information to every senior.
okay,
And through that, we're hoping to get addresses and basically information, status information in our traveling senior center. We'll go to the facilities, to the seniors and get the information directly from them. The city was able to provide us with some information with Plaza location, but nothing beats actual mouth-to-mouth, face-to-face information that we can obtain through the traveling seniors and the
ours is mailed out just to the seniors that are part of the senior center.
No, we mail our newsletter out 8 times a year
Mhm.
to the list from the town clerk's office.
Oh,
So
okay.
to all registered voters,
Oh,
get the mailing list. So whether they have come in here or not, they get it. And one of the things that we've started doing that this past round we had success is mailing postcard. And in December, we mailed out 8,000 cards to everyone in town. I think it was 55 or 60 and older.
Mhm.
And it was just a small postcard about, upcoming winter events. And we got a great response from the postcard.
That's a great idea.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to come, to find out
Sure.
what attracts,
Mhm. Yeah,
what
and
attracts seniors.
so because we've done this a couple times now with the postcards. And we always get a good response. We're gonna do it twice a year and it's gonna be paid for by the Friends organization.
Okay, yes.
So the Friends will pay for us to do postcard mailing. And we'll probably do it in December and in August, to every household.
Okay.
We can pick whatever we wanna advertise and put on that postcard.
Perfect.
Thank you.
What age are they eligible to use that senior center?
I believe it's 65.
65 is great.
65?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a good, we're targeting, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 63. Part of this one, because we start at what, 50, 50, what age do we start in?
Well, 60, but we don't check IDs. So.
Well, Lowell probably. Than Andover, because it's a city, and we're just in town.
Town, right.
We only got 36,000.
Yep.
We're really talking about
Right.
still somewhat short because well, we're even smaller.
Yes, yes.
Size wise, we're even smaller. But that representative size does reflect in other contributions or
Yeah,
other items. Anyway, all right, that's it.
yeah. Well, thank you very much. So now we need to move on to approving the minutes from January 8th. So, does anyone,
I have a question.
yes,
Did we skip the citizen input on topics not on the agenda? Or are we
Oh, I'm
going to
sorry.
be doing
we
that?
could have more citizens, but those people were citizens providing input. Do you have a citizen to provide input or?
I don't have someone with me, but I have gotten feedback
Okay, great.
from citizens. Okay. I discussed with some people about, which they had heard of through the mailing about, the opening of the walking track in, the youth center. And they were dismayed that it was such a short period of time and only for twice a week. They said it was, the time period was, hour and a half was not long enough. and that they would have liked to see it more than just Monday and Tuesday?
I'll pass that feedback on.
Okay, thank
It
you.
would be helpful if people identified themselves when they spoke, because we can't see.
Right, that's Fran,
That was Fran.
Fran Goodcock, yeah. Right. Any more input from citizens? So we can move on now for approval of minutes from January 8th. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about the minutes from January 8th? All right, hearing none, we can start here by you approve the minutes,
Yes, I do approve.
okay? And,
Don Hollenbeck, I approve.
all right, and let's go with Tim.
Did someone make a motion?
Oh, yeah, that's,
Oh, thought you did, but
right. I'm not,
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, all right, hold on. All right, so now we have a motion and a second. Tim,
Tim McCarron, I approve.
okay, Francine,
Approve?
approve, then Gail,
Gail Bloom, approve.
Kim,
Cameron approve.
Christina,
Christina Vidoli, I approve.
Ed,
And Flyway, I approve.
right, I think that's everyone here. Is that correct? Oh, I approve also. Ralph Bledsoe, I approve. Okay. So now that we've approved, let's move to supportive day preliminary finding.
Okay. Hold on. I'm not gonna risk. Give me just
No problem.
having all sorts of technical problems tonight. Now I've lost my mouse. Okay, here we- all right. Um, all right, share. All right, can you at home see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
And now we lost audio. All right, okay, so if you recall, we're in the middle of a needs assessment or coming to the end of a needs assessment for expanding the supportive day program, here in Andover. So I met on January 21st. I met with UMass Boston, the researchers from the Center of Demographics and Aging, and to learn the preliminary findings from the needs assessment and what they've learned so far. So if you recall, the purpose of the project was to identify and understand and address the needs of older residents and surrounding community with respect to the supportive day programming, and then to provide recommendations for expansion or improvements of the program. And this would inform an operation and marketing plan going forward. The project's components to date were a literature review and policy scan. They've gone through all of our literature and all of our policies. and looked at other policies. They conducted focus groups with local residents and staffs. They did key informant interviews. These were interviews that were done with not only families in the program, but actual participants and people familiar with the program. And then they also did a survey, and they surveyed residents age 50 plus to understand what their needs were in terms of caregiving, what their experiences were, and their knowledge. I can tell you, if you've ever done a community survey, it's a tough thing to do. And I'm happy to report that we had 1,076 people take our survey, which is remarkable. They were shooting for 500. So the survey results. Like I said, 1,076. It took the survey. Just some results. 65% were female, 76% were white. And then interesting, down here under Asian was 7%. And I think, which may not seem like a high number, but we felt that was a very successful number. And what we attribute that to is that we actually had the survey translated into Chinese and distributed at Town Day. And despite the rain, the Chinese community really did a great job of letting their voices be heard. Employment status, 71% of the folks that took this were working full-time, and 44% are retired. So in terms of financial security, the question was, I have adequate resources to meet my financial needs, including home maintenance, personal health care, and other expenses. Of this, 57% agreed, 26% strongly agreed, and then 17% either disagreed or strongly disagreed. That should be disagree, not strong. Let's see. So of the 1,076 people who took the survey, 431 were caregivers within the last 5 years. So less than half had caregiven or were active caregivers in the last 5 years. Others were anticipating. Of the caregivers, 29% are working full-time. 12% were working part-time, and 43% listed themselves as retired. These numbers don't add up to 100 because someone could be retired and looking for work, because that was another category, or they could be retired and working part-time. So don't expect those percentages to add up to 100. How much time did you spend providing care to this person? Less than 5 hours a week was 27%. 5 to 9 hours a week, 23%. And 10 to 19 hours a week was 18%. 40 hours or more a week was also 18%. Move forward. All right. Where do you live? 52% of the people who took the survey live in Andover. The rest were in surrounding communities, with 16% residing outside of Massachusetts. One thing that we need to keep in mind is that we have a lot of folks that either the adult children live in Andover and their elderly parents live in another state, or the senior lives in Andover and the kids live in another state. So we really weren't surprised by our reach. So did this person have any of the following conditions? 47% had mobility impairment. And again, they could have had multiple issues. 25% had Alzheimer's disease or related dementia. But then you go down a little bit and it says forgetfulness or confusion undiagnosed. And that's another 20%. And then another 20% with anxiety and depression. And then chronic diseases was 24%. Bless you. So, what conditions would have been most valuable to you during your time providing care? 29% said paid in-home caregiver or homemaking services. So, and keep that in mind as we go through this. Another 29% said support with care from family or friends. 26% emotional support. 23% transportation to medical appointments. 21% companion or services or sitter, and so forth and so on. And I will send these out to you so you can do a deeper dive. I don't like to do that beforehand because then everyone reads ahead and cheats. So keep in mind and keep in the back of your mind paid in-home caregiver and also companion services. Because when you add those two together, you're talking about 50% of the people who took this survey who were caregivers said that would be a benefit to them. So, which of the following best describes your familiarity with supportive day? Again, not familiar at all. We're not surprised by this. Came in highest at 33%, 34% of future caregivers, and 39% non-caregivers. The extremely familiar or moderately familiar, those statistics we attribute to people who probably come here that are familiar with the supportive day programs. What describes your familiarity with specifically our adult day program? Again, not familiar at all, 29%. Future caregivers not familiar at all, 40%. And again, extremely familiar, chances are they come to the Robb Center already. So just some of the write-in comments. The question was, what are your greatest concerns about your ability to remain living in your community? 944 response had focused around 5 major themes. Number 1 being taxes. Number 2 being the general cost of living and affordability. Number 3, housing. 4, access to goods and services. And 5, health, mobility, and independence. So I don't think there's any surprise with that. I think that's what we hear all the time. Taxes, housing, affordability. So if you had additional thoughts about supportive day needs in Andover and the surrounding area, please include them here. Respondents noted a need for greater access to the supportive day program. They asked about criteria for participation and whether supportive day programming could be available to those age 50 and older, adults with development disabilities and complex medical needs, and those without a memory impairment. Interesting thing is that the program is available to those 50 and older. You do not have to have a memory impairment. However, you cannot have complex medical needs because you. So it just says, our message is not getting out right now. Then a comment, supportive day program should support people who wish to get to age at home and receive health programs at home. Adoption of a program should assist elders to recognize the need for and get home assistance aid when needed. Again, there's kind of that underlying theme of people wanting assistance at home. And when we were meeting with the researchers, this is something they are hearing across communities, and their firm belief is that this is another fallout from COVID, is that everyone got so comfortable getting everything at home. Your meals come to your home, your restaurant food comes to your home, your groceries come to your home, everything comes to your home, that people got comfortable and don't necessarily want to leave their home. Now, is that the best thing for us? No, but that's what people want. So, other suggestions include programming for individuals in their home, requests for directories, for home care and nursing services, more educational programming such as how-tos. So, comments, there needs to be more outreach for diverse populations that may not be connected to the Robb Center due to lack of knowledge, language barriers, and transportation barriers. Elderly people in our family and friends network are reluctant to seek services outside the home. They are still mentally sharp, and the idea of traveling to the Robb Center is not appealing, given they prefer privacy as they face medical challenges. So there is the component of people not wanting to come here because they don't want, to be public about the difficulties that they may be facing. So if you have questions, you can stop me too. Okay. So what did they learn from the focus groups and the key informants? And if you recall, many of you participated in a focus group. So we did 2 focus groups over Zoom, and then we did one in person up at Riverside Woods, in addition to multiple key informant interviews. Current and former participants of the Supportive Day program are and were satisfied. Caregiving challenges are not limited to business hours. In-home care is also highly sought after. The barriers to the Supportive Day program include reluctance on the part of the potential participant and caregivers, the perception of the program as a fit, the program cost, and the transportation needs. There is also a limited understanding of the program, including misconception from those familiar with the Robb Center. So people who come here don't understand the program. And we have heard that. We have heard the program referred to as those people, which just
Right.
makes my blood boil. I mean, they are not those people. They are participants at the Robb Center, but that is how they are referred to. Yeah. Yeah. So we've learned a lot from this survey, I will tell you. A lot more than I anticipated we would learn. When I met with them, it was a hard pill to swallow. But I'm very excited that we did this, and I'm very excited about what we have learned, because it gives us a great opportunity instead of doing the same things over and over and over again, to retool and to retool the program, retool how we are perceived on the outside, and to think about how we expand our offerings. So operations and marketing. They gave us 5 models to consider. We could continue doing what we're doing with the current Rob Center model. The second was to go to a hybrid in-person / virtual model. We tried that with this program. It works great with fitness. Doing our fitness hybrid is fantastic. I wouldn't go back to doing fitness non-hybrid just because so many more people are getting fit. And Denise can attest to that. But it's working. But you know, people who weren't going to exercise before are now exercising. And if someone doesn't feel like going out on a rainy day, they can still exercise. We tried it with the supportive day program, and it was extremely difficult because the person who's the participant in the program has difficulty with the technology, where if they don't have a companion sitting with them to connect back to the program, it can't keep their attention and there's a lost connection. I mean, look at the difficulty I've had in here today.
Right.
Just trying to connect. For some reason, my laptop didn't want to work. A home companion program. We heard a lot about home companions, services in the home, services in the home. The 4th model was an on-site companion, which was an on-site companion would be a companion here, like a buddy system. And then a drop-in program for the supportive day. So if we stick with the current thing, what we're doing, they recommend that we allowed caregivers to participate in some portion of the program during the first 1 to 3 days. So the first couple weeks of the program are extremely difficult. There's a lot of anxiety on the part of the participant, but also on the part of the caregiver. By allowing that caregiver to be in the program for the first couple sessions, it gives the caregiver peace of mind that, you know, their person is happy, they're comfortable, the staff is very competent and caring. And it helps with that transition. One of the other things that we've observed is that we've had a few people who have started, and it's been harder on the caregiver than the participant, because you're a caregiver and you're caring and caring and caring and caring for your loved one. And then you send them to a program. Now, what do you do with yourself all day? You have nothing to do all day, or you have nothing to do for those 4 hours. It's like dropping your last child off at school. And when you're a stay-at-home parent, all of a sudden the house is empty and you don't know what to do. So we've learned that we have to be as mindful about the caregiver as we are about the participant, and making sure the caregiver can fill those hours and fill that void.
Is there something that could be done at the center for the caregiver?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. And we're actually doing that with someone right now, where we've had a rough start. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow, Dot, because they're coming tomorrow, and one of the folks is going into the supportive day, and the other person is going to participate in a program here at the center. So we're filling that void, and for the participant, the anxiety that their caregiver is right down the hall is alleviated. And for the caregiver, they're going to be busy and engaged in an activity away from their loved one. You know, convening with caregivers more often, you they talked about modifying the discharge policy. That's difficult because a lot of times the discharge is unexpected. Incorporating exit interviews, establishing transportation contracts with neighboring towns, and expanding caregiver engagement. A lot of this, we've met with the staff, we're talking about, we're adopting. We're going to start texting caregivers photos and videos during the day of their loved one engaged in activities, just so they can see that everything is okay, see the big smile, we're happy. Nothing to see here, all is good. All right. I didn't include the second one just because we've tried it. We're not a fan of it. That's not something we're going to pursue for this program.
What?
The hybrid. So the third, the home companion program. A home companion program, think of it as a friendly visitor program. It offers one-on-one socialization and activity with someone in the home. This is good for people that have limited ability to participate at the Robb Center. Chelmsford has this program. Chelmsford has a supportive day program, just like us. They also have a home companion program where they have hired a small army of seniors, and they are paid to act as home companions. It's a minimum of 2-hour consecutive visit at a time. The home companion goes into the home. They play a card game, they talk, they read together, they have lunch together, they might go out for a walk. What the home companion does not do is housekeeping, chores, transportation. They don't change light bulbs and they don't clean gutters. It is strictly a socialization, companion type of program. We do not have a friendly visitor. We may have. This is a little bit more than a friendly visitor, though, where this would be a paid position, a paid companion. And the family, it would be paying for it. It wouldn't be a free service. So the home companion, we would be responsible for vetting, ensuring, quarrying, training, because it'd be a significant element of training, boundaries, training. The family member would pay us, and we would hire the home companions, and we would schedule them, we would deploy them. If there's a lot of work on the back end. But so I will tell you, we all went on a field trip to Chelmsford 2 weeks ago. We went out to Chelmsford and we spent a couple hours on a Friday afternoon, and we sat with the Chelmsford director, the program coordinator of their supportive day program, and their support person for their home care program to learn all about their program. The nice thing about this is that it offers the caregiver respite at home. It also can serve as a runway into the supportive day program, where through this one-on-one at home, the companion can say, oh, you should come to the center, you should come to this program, and thereby it serves a bridge to get this person socialized out of the home and into the program. For those seniors with significant anxiety, who have anxiety about coming here, it still allows them some one-on-one personal contact. It also serves as a bridge going the other way, and where we've come across situations where you have seniors who are no longer appropriate for the program, and the family needs time to find placement and to find options. where instead of saying to the family, all right, we'll let so-and-so stay here for another month and we'll assign a volunteer to this person, we can have this person go home and send a caregiver home, thereby preserving the program and not having the program be impacted by someone who's unable to participate in the room. So it's kind of a two-way bridge. It does require staffing. It does require a lot of upfront investment. But it has the potential to really be something very beneficial to our folks. The on-site companion program would be kind of like the home companion program, but it would be located here, where we would have a companion here in the building. And this would be for someone who really isn't independent enough to navigate on their own, the building on their own, but is apprehensive about the supportive day program. And we have come across that. We have had people who cannot navigate being here. They cannot navigate going from a program to lunch or lunch to a program, or they have a hard time orienting themselves. This on-site companion would basically be their buddy for the day, where they would meet them at the door and say, let's go get a cup of coffee and a muffin in the cafe. Let's go to sit and get fit. And then we're going to go have lunch together. And then that person would go home. And again, it would serve as that bridge into the supportive day. We get calls all the time saying, well, can't I just drop my mom off? No, you can't just drop your mom off. Your mom has to be able to navigate. We do not, we don't supervise our independent folks, unless it was today when someone wanted to climb up on a chair. Then we do supervise. And then an on-site respite program, when we have openings in the program like we do now, someone can call up and say, hey, can my mom come to supportive day today? I need to go to XYZ. We actually did that in December. We had one of our current families call in the morning and she said, hey, I know today's not my mom's day, but this came up. Can I drop my mom off today? And we had the space. We said, absolutely. She came in, she had lunch. It was great. Family was very appreciative. So provided we have the openings in a particular day, we would open that up. So it can also become a drop-in respite program. So that is it in a nutshell. Thoughts? Fran?
Thoughts? Okay.
Oh.
I had my father in a home companion program in New York way back in the 70s, and it worked out pretty well. They were pretty much, they did no hands-on care at all. The person had to be able to wash their hands and toilet themselves, and my father just had some short-term memory kinds of issues. So it worked out really well. And we did pay for the Council on Aging to supply senior companions for him. And he had two men, and they were great because he had guy friends who came to the house. And it was a perfect way to help him out at home. I think part of the reason, which did not come out in the survey, about people's reluctance to have um, in the supportive care program outside of their home, is because I think a lot of families got shell shocked with COVID with all of the high infection rates. And they pulled people out of the assisted livings. They pulled people out of nursing homes if they could possibly do it. And they really got very mindful of when infection rates like the flus and the COVID and all of the health issues come up now. And that's probably something that did not get covered or identified. Uh, it's behind people's thoughts because they are doubly thinking about putting people into assisted livings at this point in time because pulled them out. Anyone who could did during all that, and they're still having shutdowns in some of the assisted livings as recently as like a month or two ago. So, for family members, that's a consideration, which probably did not come up in their responses. But as for a home companion program, they are lifesavers, because it's a one-on-one in the person's familiar home and they're buddies. They can be buddies. And it was a perfect solution for my father. So.
Right.
I like the idea of the home care, but seeing it as a hybrid, that bridge to getting people to use the senior center. Maybe not necessarily even attend the day program, which would be great, but just coming here, just coming to be with others and engage in group activities. So I kind of see that home care as a hybrid, like there's someone that visits, but also that someone may be the buddy for the day they're here. That same someone.
Right.
That could be like, oh, on Monday, I see you here, and on Wednesday, we have lunch at the senior center, or whatever. And that would really be ideal for just getting more people to experience what's out there in a less threatening way.
Yep. Yeah.
And there isn't that right now. It's only that giant step of being isolated at home to boom, being here. And that's just too much.
Yeah. So these were preliminary findings. Like I said, we learned an awful lot about, and we've already started tweaking things in the room. In terms of the perception here, of, those people that are down the hall. We've talked about, in engaging more with the everyday folks with them. Like right now, they sit at a separate table for lunch. We've talked about not doing that, having other people join them for lunch. We have talked about having them sit out here in the lounge during the day and engaging and talking with folks. We're going to be doing a program this summer. It's an art program. We have hired a woman to run it for us. It's an intergenerational art program where you take high school students are the lead and you pair them with seniors to create art. And we're going to do that as a hybrid program where it will be for the folks in the supportive day, but we're going to have about 6 slots available for anyone who wants to do it.
That's good.
So it will be one of these it's going to be a mingled program. And we talked about doing more mingled programs,
Great idea.
when the arts and crafts group is here doing arts and crafts, bringing, some of the folks want to do arts, bringing them down and having them join the arts and crafts group and engaging them and not having them just be in their separate program down in the room, but actually intermingled with the entire center. You know, we do that for musical events now, but we don't do enough of it for other programs. So,
I think we can get much more creative on that, yeah.
yeah. I also, when we went out to Chelmsford, Mike Lindstrom, deputy town manager, he went with us. And he's asked me to put together a plan for a home care program.
Oh, great.
So, that is, something that I will be I've actually already started working on. And he'd like to see something, he asked for a date and I gave him April because, the grant activities will be done March 31st. And that's when we'll have all of our findings from UMass Boston. And I don't want to jump their gun in because I still have a few more meetings with them about this. But we're targeting having a plan April 1st with perhaps a rollout either over the summer or into the fall. Okay.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you. It seems that now we are going to look at the Executive Office of Elder Affairs rebranding.
Right. Let's see here. All right. So, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm not sure if all of you are aware of this, but the Executive Office of Elder Affairs has gone through a rebrand. And so we fall under the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. They are responsible for funding. They offer grants, also support.
Is it state or federal?
This is state. This is state. In fact, the supportive day grant was from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. We're also responsible for reporting back to them. They manage the state formula grant, amongst a variety of other things. So, in 2022, the Executive Office of Elder Affairs received ARPA funds to launch a research project to better understand the agency and this aging population and the challenges. And basically their goals were to better understand the consumer and stakeholder and awareness of perceptions of EOEA services. Much like a lot of folks don't know what our services are, more folks don't even know what the Executive Office of Elder Affairs is, and that they actually even exist. It's a department, it's a division within the Department of Health and Human Services under Governor Healy. So they wanted to understand the service needs of residents, including how residents hear about and engage with services and barriers to using EOEA's services. And basically, what they found was that the consumers lacked a general understanding of what the Executive Office of Elder Affairs is. And what the agency does and why they matter. And then when they showed them information about programs and services, people had more questions than answers. So kind of like the universal problem, is what do you do? And, we don't know anything about you. So what they did is they rebranded, and this is a really condensed version of a webinar that they have. They rebranded and now they are the Executive Office of Aging and Independence. Doesn't that sound nicer than the Executive Office of Elder Affairs? And they have a shiny new logo that's there on the screen. And this is a response to the bias that the aging process is akin to slowing down, and that how how well you age is more a matter of generics, chance, or luck. But the Executive Office of Aging and Independence aims to provide resources for Massachusetts residents, not just to live better, but thrive. So their logo is a burst of energy. They took out the term elder, which has many negative connotations, and replaced it with aging, which is more of an active word. It's more of a verb. So I just wanted to bring this all to your attention. That's their new look. Executive Office of Aging and Independence.
Your partners in aging.
So what do you think? I just have to ask everyone, what do you think?
Makes a lot of sense and it's pretty positive.
It's very positive.
Yeah.
I get really annoyed with media when there's an accident, or something, they say this elderly person, and then they're like 60 years old. Use the term elderly.
Yeah.
I like that term.
What about our Zoomers? What do you think of their new name and their new logo?
Okay, I'm not thrilled. It's too vague. People who were 16 years old are aging into 17 years old. 8-year-old kids are going to be 10 years old. Aging doesn't tell you who we're talking about. And the same for independence. Kids that are 10 are going to be more independent as they age up into middle school responsibilities. Kids that are high school are going to get more independent when they graduate and go on to the rest of their lives. I just think it's too vague and it doesn't help connect to the group that we are most concerned about, so that we are not going to be able to say, these are the issues of greatest concern. This is why you need to fund programs for these particular groups of people. My first thoughts. Of course, he didn't ask me.
To me, it feels like a solution to a problem I didn't know existed, but if they think this is going to get better buy-in, then all the more power to them, as long as, we're serving folks who need the help. I don't really care what they call it. So I think it's fine.
So I think the point of this, and I understand your point, Gail, and I understand Kim. I mean, the message all along, the message from the survey, and the message that Executive Office of Elder Affairs got when they did this, is that people don't know who you are, they don't know what you do, and they don't want to be considered old. And what you're doing isn't working. So it's almost, I see it as kind of a parallel with what they went through and what we experienced, where they're the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. Well, if I had a dime for every senior I knew that wasn't old enough to deal with the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, I would be retired right now, because people, they want to have their pride. They don't want to be considered
Exactly.
elderly.
Right, exactly.
And that may be what they are. And yes, kids may be aging just like adults are. But if you don't call yourself something that appeals to the people you're trying to attract, they're not going to show up. So if you continue to call yourself the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, and you're servicing seniors in the community, but the seniors don't want to go to you for help because you make them feel elderly and old, then you're not going to go there.
Oh, can I say, I'm not in favor of elder affairs. I don't like, to me, that's like, an affair is not generally what you think of when you think of department, for example. So yeah, I'm not crazy of elder affairs, but I don't think they're doing anybody a great service with this particular change. I would have liked to have seen more work going into coming up with a better brand, better name.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with the word aging with it because it's very closely aligned with elders.
So what would you use?
When I identify myself like on the phone to somebody and, and I refer to myself as a senior citizen, that's how I refer to myself, as a senior citizen.
How much money do they spend on the marketing team to do the research to come up with this?
A lot. I'm sure it was
Yeah, that's the
significant.
problem.
So, all right.
Well, also you just have to figure there are different generation that probably came up with much younger folks, so.
Yeah, life after
Yeah.
retirement.
So, well, they've done it. They've changed it. So as you go about your day, if you hear from the Office of Aging and Independence, then keep in mind that that is the change from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. And we will no longer be referring to them as that. Okay?
Yeah, we need to embrace that.
Yes,
All right.
So, director's report.
All right, so things are pretty status quo compared to last year. The numbers are all fluctuating around the same. We did just under 2,000 meals for Meals on Wheels in January. Our events, we were over 4,500 duplicated for events. So we, programming just continues to grow. It's growing small now just because of our capacity and our space issues. Supportive Day, you can see the hit that we have taken with losing so many of our folks. The nice thing about Supportive Day in January, we did have 3 new people start, which is great. One of them had a very difficult start. So we're kind of hoping to hang on to her. And one of our new starts comes from Wakefield. So we're spending a lot of time trying to figure out transportation for our Wakefield person.
Jane,
Social services, I can,
Jim,
Oh,
you have-
yep.
Go ahead.
I have can you hear me?
Yes.
And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I was looking at the numbers earlier today. I think it was something like the Supportive Day program was something like 199 to 100. Is that correct on that?
yeah,
Is that how do we ask this? Can that be used against the program? Has any is that seen as is this program not meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to ask without saying it, I guess.
Yeah, I know exactly. So I've had that conversation. The program is worthwhile. I will tell you, first
I'm
of
not
all,
doubting that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just I looked at the numbers and quick and went, whoa, this is a dramatic drop. Is
Mhm.
Is that is that used? Can that be used to question either the growth of the program or the expansion of the program? I think maybe that's best said, the expansion of the program.
Yes. So, and that's why the home care companion program is such a great option. Because so last year in 2024 in January, we had a full program. We actually had a couple people on a waiting list waiting to get in on particular days. So we were full last year. and as I've been telling you all along, we've been losing people every month. We've been losing people.
Right.
Now we're starting to gain people. The room is limited to how many people we can have in the program just based on the size of the room. So one of the thoughts with the survey was if it really came back like everybody wants this program, then maybe we would look for additional space somewhere. Well, obviously that's not what we learned. We learned that people wanted home care. So instead of looking to expand this program, I think the feeling is let's maintain this program, add the home care component, and that will help grow the program back up to capacity, but also have a continual feed of folks who could benefit from this program through the home companion program.
Do you compete with, and honestly, I have no idea, like zero. Do you compete with private providers, not only for the day program, but would you be competing with private providers in a home setting?
So for the daycare program, we are the only supportive day program outside of Chelmsford in this area. There's full adult daycare. There's Spectrum adult daycare, and a new one they're supposed to open this month, which is going to be predominantly for the Chinese community. But it's a full adult day program. Ours is a non-medical model. It's supportive.
Oh, so that's the difference, Jim?
That is a difference. That's a significant
All right,
difference.
so they take complex medical
Yes,
needs and things.
right. So
Right,
they
have nursing staff.
right. So people who don't need that don't tend to go there
Right,
because of the level of functioning in the room.
right.
So
And they're private and fee-based, correct?
right, and we're also fee-based.
But I assume they are a much greater fee.
Yes, yeah, they're a greater fee because they're providing more complex level of support. So, that's why, this study was so helpful in that it told us, we should continue our efforts to maintain the supportive day program and bring it back up to full level staffing, clients, but also if we want to continue to grow, the direction we should grow at is the home care program.
Okay, thank you.
So, hopefully next January, you'll see those numbers back up. Social services, we're a little lower from last year. I attribute that to some of the complexity that the social workers are dealing with. It seems that homelessness has become a significant, it's become an issue where the homeless folks that Christine and Shauna are engaged with, there are more this year than we were seeing last January. So in terms of transportation, I'm struggling with that because our statistics are how we're reporting rides is all over the board. So I'm having a hard time getting an accurate read on transportation. But I can tell you medical transportation continues to grow strong. February, we're in February now where we changed the policy. You get 2 donation-based rides, and beyond 2, it would be a fee-based ride. And we haven't really had pushback on that at all.
I promise to stop at 2 questions. But last time I think we met, or the time before that, you were talking about the possibility of a grant for medical transportation. Any update on that, or has that gone by the board?
No, it's still out there. I reached out to my contact at MassDOT this week, and the grant is still winding its way through the approval process. Things are taking a bit longer. Part of the money from MassDOT was federal money. So I'm assuming that that is gonna slow things down, that the part of the grant was state money and part of the grant was federal money, so it's gonna be a little bit slower, but that is still very much alive, Tim. I'm
you.
holding my breath. I'm waiting for it, hoping for it.
Can you explain the double numbers, the slash? I don't know what.
Yeah, that's duplicated versus
Oh,
unduplicated.
okay.
So,
You got it.
so in January, 24 people took 83 medical transportation rides. And then in terms of the script program, we've had one completer. And our one completer keeps going. I love our completers.
Yeah.
They just keep going and going and going. The early completers keep going. And upcoming events, tomorrow, we are having Chinese New Year, which is rescheduled from last Thursday. We're having Mardi Gras night, if any of you like, food from the French Quarter. We are having a jazz Mardi Gras evening. And then St. Patrick's Day luncheon is March 14th, and that will be over at the Cormier Youth Center. And that is that.
All right, all I know is I have my ticket to the big dinner
Oh,
that we're
the
gonna
Mardi
have.
Gras dinner?
No,
Formal.
no,
Oh, the dinner
the
dance.
dinner dance.
Oh,
That's in April, right?
Yeah,
right. So, yeah, thank you, Ralph. And thank you for, ticket sales are very slow. I'm very concerned at this point. If you had any inclination to go to the dinner dance, please talk it up with your community, talk it up with your neighbors. We are offering transportation. Nowhere else can you go and for $40 dance the night away with a plated, wonderful dinner. There will be a cash bar. There will be a professional photographer taking complimentary photos.
it's black tie also.
It's no, formal attire is encouraged. It's not required. But ticket sales are going a lot slower than we had anticipated. So please, 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 talk it up.
Yeah.
And get your ticket. Okay,
All righty.
that's it.
So we're on to new business. I have to mention that I've been a bit out of sorts, of course, because as you know, I was in the hospital for a couple months there. Now I'm back to work full time, and they've changed the schedule for faculty meetings. Instead of Mondays, they're now Wednesdays. And that leaves me with a conflict for March and April. Not May, not June, but March and April. So I will not be able to attend those meetings. There are a couple solutions. One, we could have someone else run the meeting. We don't have a vice chair, but we could, have someone volunteer or rotate it or however you want to do it. Or move our meeting to Monday or Tuesday. Because I used to have faculty meetings Monday. Now that's open. But I don't know if anybody feels this is something worth changing the whole setup with. And so open it for discussion. Just you can't have it on Thursdays. That's out. Thursdays won't work. So we either keep today, go with Monday or Tuesday. I don't know that Friday will work out too well either.
Cannot do on Mondays. I already have a previous commitment on Monday afternoon.
I could do Tuesday. I signed up for that course that they're having to learn about
The Leadership Academy,
leadership.
then that will conflict.
Yeah, I know it does.
I mean, we can keep it on Wednesday. Ralph just can't run the meeting, so
Right.
I know Christina, you're the secretary, you did a great job before. Or if somebody else wants to step up and just run. The March meeting, it's gonna be at 4 o'clock on Zoom only, because I'm in a training, and I can't start until 4 o'clock. And then the next meeting would be April 9th.
So I'm happy to run the next two meetings. That's no problem.
All
All right,
right,
Chris,
sounds good.
thank you, Christina.
The next one is Zoom only, is that right?
The next one,
March
is
12th.
Zoom only.
yeah. So that will be March 12th at 4 o'clock, and I promise I'll figure out technology by then. I don't know what happened today.
Imagine I'm on Zoom and I'm in a department meeting. That's never mind.
Hmm.
Well, any other new business? As we have about 2 minutes, minute and a half left.
I have a suggestion, wasn't original with me, but given the chaos that's going on in our government agencies, it was suggested that anybody that has ever paid into Social Security go into their account and make a copy, so you have a record of that. I heard Elon Musk speak yesterday. He's already in there, said he claims he's finding people that are 150 years old being seen. So, I mean, I did it today. It takes about 5 minutes to go in. You know, you can print out your earnings, or you can print out your benefits, or both.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
They want to end Social Security altogether, even though no one wants it to end.
And I wish we could get that out to our seniors too, that I know this newsletter's already gone out, but I've been emailing people, telling people, you know, that's telling my family members, so just so you have a record of, you know, take a photo of it or print it out or
Or
something.
maybe keep doing that every month on a set day
Mhm.
to keep track of our changes. You know, because if you do it once, it could be different in 6
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
Right,
You know.
good point.
Well, anything else? We have like a minute, half a minute left. Otherwise, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I so move, I'm over to adjourn.
Second?
I second.
Second, all right, so let's go around the horn, see if everybody wants to agree. And we have Denise,
Yes, I agree.
Judy,
That, agree?
that agrees. Tim, sorry.
I agree.
Kimberly,
Brandon approved.
Gail,
I agree.
Christina,
Yes, I agree.
Brian,
Yes, I agree.
and Ralph Bledsoe, I agree. So we can hereby adjourn.
All right,
Oh, sorry.
good night, everyone.
Night.
Bye.